Hi guys. Getting ready. This is our August. I wish it was August. April 1st. This is our April 1st discussion on the Spanish colonies uh, in North and South America, and we've looked at how they ran their. We've looked at how they colonized. We saw Pizarro and Cortez. Then we've seen how they got their labor, the idea of encomiendas, and how that became something that was very abusive. Uh, Bartolome de las Casas objected to that and wrote the king how they governed their colonies. Each, and I want you to remember this, very top down. Okay, very top down. So everything has to go through the king. The king has a group of advisors that tell him what they think should happen in the colonies. It's called the Council of the Indies. All decisions have to be made by the king. Then the king sends those decisions out, and this is something I needed to make sure we had. Each colony is run, so Cuba is a separate colony. Mexico is a separate colony. Peru is a separate colony. And each of those colonies has their own um, governor, or the Spanish refer to them as a viceroy. Just think of it this way: roy is the Spanish word for king. And when we use the word vice, for instance, with a vice principal or a vice president, we're thinking of somebody who's the assistant or immediately beneath the principal or immediately beneath the president. So, what we're talking about when a viceroy is the person who is the representative of the king and immediately below the king in the colonies. Now, the colonies, so that's how they're governing them. Everything runs through the king, through the Council of the Indies, to the viceroy. But the colonies have uh, developed within themselves a very rigid social structure. Now, to help you out, what you might want to do is open up the PowerPoint that we have for this. It's European colonization. And if you start at slide 25, I'll start to talk to you about classifications of people that develop within the Spanish colonies. First of all, you got to remember um, the colony is extractive. The main purpose of the colony is to benefit the mother country, Spain. In the case of Mexico, in the case of Peru, that's being done by extracting natural resources, silver and gold, and sending it back to Spain. In the case of the Caribbean colonies, they're producing sugar and sending it back to Spain. It's all to make Spain wealthy. And in fact, Spain will become very wealthy as a result of this. But that's going to lead to some problems that we'll talk about next time. So, we have people coming over. The main motivation of the people who come from Spain, the colonists, is to get rich. That's what they want to do. They want to get rich and go home. And it's very important to remember that. That is their motivation. Get rich and go home. And the other thing that's important to remember about these people is most of them are young, single males. They tend to be third sons of nobility. So they're trying to get rich, maybe get a little land, but they want to go back home. And when they get to the Americas, they're young single males. They are not married. And what happens is you develop a really rigid social structure, and everybody is concerned about one, what is your race? Are you white? Are you African? Are you native? Two, the other thing that they're worried about is where are you from, or what's your ethnicity also. Race and ethnicity first, and where are you from? Are you from Spain, or were you born in the New World? So the people at the top of the social structure are called peninsulares. Peninsulares, and you'll see that on slide 25. Peninsulares are white people born in Spain. They hold the most important positions in the government. They hold the most important positions in the church. They have power. Immediately beneath them are people called Creoles, Creoles. And you'll see that also on slide 25. They are white people, but they are primarily born in the New World. They're not primarily born, they are born in the New World. They are going to be the business people. They're going to own ranches. They're going to own mines. And they are going to be running things that way. Now, we said initially that most of these people are young men. There are a few white women who are coming over from Spain, but we've got a lot of young men. And what happens when you've got a lot of young men? Pretty soon you're having children born from natives, native women, and African slave women as a result of relationships with these young men. So you have a group called mestizos. A mestizo is a person who is a cross or descended from a white parent, usually a father, and a Native American mother. And the other group are called mulattoes. That's the result of a relationship between a white parent, usually a father, and a um, and a an African slave woman. Okay, so that's a mulatto, white plus African. And if you go down to, I want to say, slide 31, you'll see how they categorize all these people. But before you do that, it's important to know that the people get categorized. The mestizos and mulattoes are going to provide labor. So peninsulares, church and government, um, Creoles are largely in business. They own ranches, they own farms, they are business people. And then the mestizos and the mulattoes supply labor. Um, and they get very concerned about what are you? Are you white? Are you mostly white? And they divide people up even further than these four. These four are the really important groups. But you can see there, if you move through the slides, you're going to see a group called castizos. A castizo is a cross between a white man and a mestizo woman. A Morisco is a white man and a mulatto woman. And if you move down the slides, if you look at slide 27, they got so concerned about this that they would make books and illustrate this. In slide 27, you'll see somebody has thought it's so important that we categorize everybody that they have made sure that you know what a mestizo is going to look like. So that's slide 27. And in slide 28, you're going to see a group called a Zombo. That's going to be an African and a Native American cross. So that's a Zombo. Um, and where you are, you can see in these slides, they also begin to stereotype. You can see there's one slide there where you see a woman being very violent with a man. What's the emphasis of that picture? The picture is, look, this is these people. These are these mixed race people. They're very violent. They're very volatile. They're explosive. Um, we can't trust them in government. We can't have them running businesses because they can't even control themselves. So they developed this very rigid class system, and what you are in life depends on where you are in the class system. And the class system is referred to as castas, Castas, okay? And the last thing I want to talk about here, the Spanish are not the only people who have colonies, European colonies in South America. Remember, this all started as a result of the Portuguese leading out. This is way back even before break. The Portuguese, Vasco da Gama, Prince Henry the Navigator, trying to get to India. Well, eventually, they did that by sailing east. And